This was the first assignment I shot on my iPhone. I wasn't nervous asking my family questions, but I was nervous about their answers. They didn't understand the term Cinema Verite, so there wasn't much depth in their answers. I was worried until I looked at the footage all together. Much like Frederick Wiseman, the story came together in the editing room. In fact, most of the videos I submitted were built and molded while editing, such as this cooking video. I did a lot of intercutting and zooms to give the audience a fast-paced process. Even though it's not one continuous shot, it's easy to make out the step-by-step how to make this Alfredo pasta. I used mostly music instead of the raw audio because my family is pretty loud and I didn't want to distract the viewer from the process. My mother also listens to music while cooking, so I didn't ask questions in order to not disturb her normal routine. If I were to do this again, I would probably bring a mic with me to grab more sound bites, such as the water rushing or the pasta squishing when mixed together with the broccoli. Overall, I think this story was my favorite to film and probably the easiest to convey to the audience. The video shot in the car is another example of building the story. I was going to have him just listen to music, but as we were driving by, I saw a house caught on fire. All the neighbors outside and a fire truck passing by. I quickly turned on my camera but wasn't able to capture much. Looking back, I wish I would have asked him to talk about what he just saw while driving by. If I was able to catch his reaction and explanation, then the story would have made more sense. In an American Family documentary, a lot of story is told in a respectful way, such as the girl on the phone talking about her parents fighting over cheese. The actual fight wasn't shown, but the audience can conclude what happened based on the people's reaction. For the follow video, I shot it in a crowded area to imitate the same perspective as the famous follow scene of John F. Kennedy in Primary. Although in Primary documentary we saw the follow of JFK from a high angle, I shot this at a lower one because the person didn't know I was filming. Instead, I tried to move the camera around to showcase where they might be thinking of stopping depending on their walking pace. Since she is moving slower than RFK and has more space around her, this feels very casual and creates a different story than Primary's. Reflecting on the Summer of a Chronicle documentary, I asked my mom and aunt the question, "Are you happy?" I knew their automatic answers were going to be yes, but I discovered something else by absorbing their eyes and their movements. Much like the people on the street getting asked the question in the documentary, there was a sense of relief as they were preparing themselves for a much harder question. I was catching them in the morning before work, so the sunrise was a perfect background for such a happy question. I actually moved my aunt outside to match the same warm outdoor vibes as the previous answer. I filmed and edited this video on my iPhone to discuss character. After watching the documentary High School, I was inspired to follow the action happening inside of a dog park. I took my dog hoping to capture some interaction. There weren't any other dogs there, so I decided to follow her around. To my surprise, her personality shined through very fast to me. At first, she was ignoring us and wanting to just sniff around like any dog. Then she became very playful and then very tired. In the documentary film, there's not really a plot structure being shown, but instead a glimpse of what it's like to be a student in that high school. Just like the film High School, I tried to show a glimpse of what goes on through a dog's mind at a dog park. These are all short videos I filmed on my phone for Cinema Verite class. I've really been enjoying applying the techniques we learned weekly to shoot more of the truth in my world.